A child was playing just a few meters from his front door. A blurry video captured him running out into the hallway and never coming back. From that moment on, Lee Iskandar became the child who would never grow up in his family's arms. The disappearance of Lee Iskandar. The 14th of July, 2010, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The sky was gentle, clouds drifting slowly overhead. 6-year-old Lee Iskandar asked his mother if he could play outside in the hallway just like he always did. The family lived on the 7th floor of Seri Saujana Apartments, a mid-income housing complex. His mother, Rina, was preparing dinner. The door was left open. The sound of little slippers echoed down the corridor, then stopped. 15 minutes later, she called out, "Lee, dinner's ready." No answer. The hallway was empty. Moments later, voices echoed across the 7th floor. She ran from door to door, knocking, yelling her son's name. No one had seen him. No one had heard anything. By 6:05 p.m., neighbors started to search. Maybe he ran down to the playground? But the playground was empty. Security said no child had exited the building. The front gate was controlled by keycard. Lee had nothing on him, just a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. The CCTV footage on the 7th floor captured one thing only. Time, 5:46 p.m. Lee running down the hallway, stopping briefly to look into an apartment at the far corner. Then stepping out of frame behind the wall. There's no footage of him returning. No footage of anyone following him. No one exited that hallway after that time. The apartment he glanced into? It had been vacant for weeks. The previous tenant had moved out in late June. No one new had moved in. Yet a neighbor next door said, "I thought I heard a door open just a soft click around 6 p.m. Like someone opened it and gently closed it. But I assumed it was just the wind." A child, a hallway, an empty apartment. And then, nothing. Police arrived at 7 p.m. They sealed off the floor. They checked every unit. But it was too late. The door had already closed. And Lee Iskandar was never seen again. When a child goes missing, you count on cameras, neighbors, evidence. But what's more terrifying than finding nothing is when everything is perfectly, eerily silent. Police retrieved all CCTV footage from Seri Saujana Apartments. There were a total of 7 working cameras on the day Lee vanished. 2 in the 7th floor hallway, 1 in the elevator, 3 in the lobby and building exits, 1 at the stairwell. The result? Only 1 clip showed Lee running toward the corner unit. No footage of him taking the elevator. No footage of him on the stairs. No footage of him leaving the building. But there was one major problem. The camera covering the corner outside the vacant apartment was broken. It had stopped working a week earlier. No one noticed. No one fixed it. And that's exactly where Lee disappeared from view. The unit number 7 to 23 where Lee was last seen was listed as vacant since 2 weeks earlier, locked and sealed by building management. No new tenants registered. But when police broke in, they found the door wasn't locked from the inside. It was fastened with an old wire loop from the outside. Fresh shoe prints adult, scissored on the floor. A glass in the sink, still holding condensation. A moldy cloth like someone had recently cleaned the floor. No trace of Lee. No blood. No sound. Just a space too clean. Police knocked on every unit on the 7th floor. There were 12 apartments. Only 4 residents opened the door. The rest? Didn't see anything. Didn't hear anything. I was sleeping. Please leave. One elderly woman, who lived directly across from unit number 7 to 23, said, "I saw the curtain flutter at around 6:30 p.m., like the window was open, but I assumed it was the wind." When asked why she hadn't reported it sooner, she just shook her head. Around here, people don't ask about missing kids, because going missing is something you don't talk about. And just like that, no one saw, no one heard, no one remembered the boy who was once there. Police drafted 3 initial theories. 1. Lee climbed over the railing and fell, though nobody was found. 2. Lee was abducted by a hidden resident. 3. Someone had been secretly living in the vacant apartment and cleaned everything after doing something unspeakable. The 16th of July, 2 days after Lee disappeared, a night janitor named Farid, who worked the late shift at Seri Saujana Apartments, came to the police with a disturbing account. "I saw a man carrying a very large trash bag down to the basement," Farid said. It was around 6:30 p.m. that evening. The bag was black industrial grade, but it was unusually heavy. He was dragging it. When asked to describe the man, Farid could only recall he wore an oversized jacket, a baseball cap. His face was obscured by shadows. He didn't take the elevator, he used the stairwell from the 7th floor all the way down. Police immediately searched the basement, specifically the old utility storage and trash disposal area. It was a blind spot. No security cameras. A place designed for maintenance staff rarely visited. After 2 hours of searching, they found something. In a dark corner behind the water tank, stuffed out of sight, was an industrial trash bag. It had already been opened. Inside, a single child's sandal matching Lee's size, a white t-shirt, soiled, a towel stained with dried reddish marks, possibly blood, and a short black hair strand, later confirmed to be from a child. But there was no body. The bag was sent to forensics. Preliminary results. The blood matched Lee's blood type. The hair carried child DNA. The shirt material matched what Lee was wearing when he vanished. Still, without a body, the case could not be ruled a homicide. The media began circling. Has Lee Iskandar been disposed of? Or was this a staged diversion? Could someone living among us be hiding a child's nightmare behind a friendly smile? During inspection of the stairwell from the 7th floor to the basement, police discovered something else. A miniature surveillance camera disabled with black tappa tucked above the 3rd floor stair door. It wasn't part of the building's security system. It had been installed illegally. Who put it there? Why? No one from building management claimed ownership. No resident admitted to knowing about it. Lee was still missing, but now police knew something chilling. Someone had been watching the building, and they didn't just know where the blind spots were. They knew how to blind the entire system. even if just long enough to vanish with a child. After discovering the hidden camera in the stairwell, police re-examined the entire resident list at Seri Saujana Apartments. In the most recent tenant record from July 2010, they noticed something odd. A unit on the 5th floor, 5 to 14, was registered under the name Tan Wei L, male, 38 years old. But when they looked closer, no neighbors had ever seen this man. The unit's lights were rarely on. Building management had no copy of his ID. The rental documents were submitted via email. Rent was paid via international wire transfers. And most chilling, the ID and registered address were fake. Tan Wei L did not exist. Police forcibly entered the unit. Inside, they found a desk with 2 computers, both stripped of hard drives, a blueprint of the apartment complex's electrical system, gloves, black duct tape, and a small pair of binoculars, an unopened box of infant formula, and a handwritten note, "Don't let it cry too long." There was no sign of Lee. But one thing was certain. Someone had lived here. Someone had been watching the building. And they had planned everything down to the last wire. Tracing the payment history for the apartment, investigators found the money came from a bank account in Cambodia, belonging to a company that had been dissolved since 2008. This was no longer a simple disappearance. It was beginning to look like a coordinated abduction, carefully premeditated. From the note, "Don't let it cry too long," detectives formed a chilling theory. Lee may have still been alive for at least 48 hours after vanishing. Speculation exploded. Was Lee kidnapped for ransom? Smuggled out via the building's maintenance access routes? Or was he still hidden inside another apartment by someone who hadn't yet been caught? Then, on the night of the 17th of July, Lee's mother, Rina, received a phone call. An untraceable number, just one sentence, whispered through static. "It's quiet now, stop looking." Then silence. No more calls. No leads. Just the echo of a voice that knew far more than anyone else and didn't want to be found. 6 months after Lee disappeared, police released a quiet statement. "There is not enough evidence to classify this as a homicide, but we are not ruling out a case of organized abduction. All the evidence, the 5th floor apartment, the trash bag in the basement, the child's hair, the whispered voicemail, was preserved, but none of it led to a conclusion. And so, the case faded. No suspects, no new leads, and Lee Iskandar remained the child who never got to grow up. Theory 1. A human trafficking network. In 2015, a former officer broke silence. Lee may have been a victim of a trafficking ring targeting Asian children. According to intelligence logs, that 5th floor apartment once appeared in a report on fake passport scams. But no witnesses, no ransom note, no sightings at airports, bus stations, or border checkpoints. Everything vanished with Lee. Theory 2. Someone inside the building. A more terrifying possibility emerged. That someone inside Seri Saujana was responsible. Maybe a resident living off the books, hidden in service areas, maintenance shafts, or unregistered empty units. Some residents once reported footsteps on the rooftop past midnight, lights flickering and locked unused utility rooms, and sometimes laughter, a child's voice echoing faintly through air vents. No one dared to check. No one wanted to believe. But everyone remembered. The mother who never left the kitchen. Rena, Lee's mother, still lives in the same 7th floor apartment. Lee's tiny plastic chair still sits by the door. Every night, she makes 2 plates of food just like when he was small. I believe my son is still alive. One day, he'll walk back through that door. Because in this home, the door will always stay open. The CCTV footage from that day still exists. It ends on a single frame. Lee turns his head, smiles toward the dark corner, and walks out of view, not afraid, not in a rush, just a child, thinking someone familiar was waiting ahead. To this day, the disappearance of Lee Iskandar remains unsolved. But for those who still live in that building, every night ends with the same quiet question. If that door never truly closed, then what else might one day walk back through it?